What is that thing that you treasure most from people, especially from those people in your life who are very dear to you? What do you treasure most from them with them? Is it the gifts that they have given you, the expensive gifts? I remember a friend of mine gave me a very nice signature shirt. Or is it the treats that they have given you? I have these friends in Manila. They always treat me to a nice movie in Makati or in Green Hills, followed by Starbucks or even dinner after. What are the things that you treasure most from your dear ones? If you ask me, my honest answer to that is my conversations with them. Far more than the gifts that they have given me, far more than the treats that they have spent for me. It is our moments of being together, telling stories, sharing sentiments. He or she or them telling me this and that, me listening and sharing my own thoughts and feelings as well. I treasure those moments most. Especially as a priest, I get assigned to different places, and therefore I have met different people from different places. I miss those moments when I had the chance to be with her, be with him, and we would spend hours, sometimes, not just minutes, of sharing, of having a hearty, holy conversation. I miss those moments. As a principal, sometimes I have moments like that with a student, with a teacher, a staff, even a parent. I treasure those moments. I thank God for those moments. I find God in those moments. Even as a rector, we're in the students, the young people, and the staff. They are my family, my children. I treasure those moments when one would approach me and ask for time to have a conversation with. I thank God for those moments. I find God in those moments. Here in Malaysia, even if up to now I'm still very poor in Bahasa, there are some people who request for a time with me, especially as a priest. They would share their situations in life. I would listen and share my own thoughts as well. I thank God for those moments. I find God in those moments. Conversations. Do you feel the same? Do you find it so meaningful, so beautiful to have conversations with someone? Do you thank God for such conversations too? Do you find God in such conversations too? I think that is one big lesson from the Lord to us through today's celebration, through today's readings, the gospel especially. We find these two disciples having a conversation together, pouring their hearts to each other, sharing and listening to each other's sentiments. I imagine them feeling confused, feeling down, feeling discouraged, and talking about what they're going through with each other. And while they were having such conversation, then Jesus appears to them, journeys with them, joins in their conversation, and that conversation, not just with each other, but this time with the Lord, turned their conversation into conversion. The good news of today, have such conversations. And these conversations, let them turn into conversion. Because in such conversations, God is there. Thank you, Lord, for reminding us of how important conversations are. Are there husbands here? When was the last time you had a conversation with your wife? Maybe you have more conversations with the people in your office, especially that pretty lady. Very dangerous, right? And you don't have any more much time. You go get home feeling tired already. Not even a simple good night to your children and to your wife. How important conversations are. It will turn into a conversion from a good dad to a better dad, from a good husband to a better, more loving, more caring husband. Get into such conversations. You just don't know what you're missing if you don't. Get into that conversation with your spouse, with your child. Thank God for such conversations and find God in such conversations. When was the last time you had a conversation with your parents, with your mommy, with your daddy? Now I cannot anymore have a conversation with my mother. She has passed away. But I still have my daddy. I am guilty of not giving a lot of time calling him up. He is now in Tagaytay, in Philippines. My siblings are more loving to him in that way. They spend more time calling him up and even visiting him. My brother Stephen in Manila would send me pictures of him and our daddy having time together. My brother, a priest in Mandaluyong, every time he has the chance, he would go to Tagaytay and have time and conversation with my daddy. How about me? I make the excuse of telling myself I am in good shape, but guilty as charged. Who are the persons in your life? How often do you have conversations with them? Have such. Thank God for such while you still can. And find God in such conversations. And let this conversation turn into a conversion, bringing out the better person in you, a more loving, a more lovely person that you really are. You know, one problem in the modern world, there are a lot of people who are actually feeling sad. Why? Because they feel they have no one to talk to. They have no one to talk with. That is why they are so engrossed in their cell phones, perhaps. Their conversation buddy is not anymore a real human person, but their cell phone. Sad, right? You're giving more time to that gadget. You find no one who is both willing and able to just spend time with you, listen to you, share his or her own sentiments to you in a compassionate way, in the context of love, to have a conversation with no judgment at all. Let us treasure these people who are there for us, who are there with us, willing and able to have a conversation with us. Do you know of someone who has no one in his or her life, but I hope he will find a person, a real person, with whom he or she can have a healthy, hearty, and holy conversation with? Because in such a conversation, God will be present. Can you think of the conversations you've had with someone? A friend? A family? A colleague? Maybe a priest whom you actually do not personally know? Remember your conversation with him, maybe in the context of a confession. Maybe even with a stranger. Sometimes some people feel it's a lot easier to talk to a stranger than to someone you know personally. Remember those conversations that up to now you still treasure? Thank God for these conversations, because you found God in such conversations. My dear sisters and brothers, may we have more and more of such healthy, holy, and hearty conversations, because in such, Jesus is there, turning that conversation into a conversion, bringing out the better persons that we are meant to become. Father, you know, I have many of such conversations, and we talk about people. In Manila, we call these people marites. No, I'm not referring to that kind of conversation. That's gossiping. That's neither healthy nor holy. It may be very hearty, but never healthy and holy. Rather, let us treasure those moments wherein we were really sharing things about ourselves, about what we're going through, and we were really listening to the other who is sharing about himself, about what he is going through, becoming a listening ear to each other and a welcoming heart to each other. Then such a conversation is really healthy and holy and hearty. And in such a conversation, truly God is there. Through the words we share, and far more than the words we share, through the feelings that the other person would feel through our presence. Father, I forgot already all the advices you have given me during our last conversation. But I feel very grateful for that, because you made me feel I am loved by God. I am welcomed by God. You made me feel that there is a better tomorrow waiting for me. And so I thank you for having that conversation with me. You see, sometimes it's not really what we say that matter most in our conversations with people. Rather, the feelings that we evoke from each other, what the conversation makes us feel, then that is what matters most in a conversation. If out of our conversation with people, we both feel God's presence, God's guidance, God's grace, wow, what a wonderful conversation. The Emmaus story happens again through you and the other person you're having a conversation with. Thank you, Lord, for these moments of conversations turning into conversions. Thank you, Lord, for reminding us that having a conversation with someone, a healthy, hearty, and holy one, is very, very important, because you are there in such a conversation, and your presence will turn us into the better persons that we are called to be. Dear sister and brother, I look forward to you having that conversation with that someone wherein God will be there.